Good afternoon, and thank you so much for joining today. My name is Asiana Rosales. My pronouns are he, him. And I am a freshman under the Environmental and Conservation Biology major at Kent State University. I currently serve as the freshman ambassador for the Spanish and Latino Student Association, References Salsa, as well as the founder and president for the KSU Eco Justice Order. At the end of the semester, I'll be assuming the position of vice president for Salsa as well. Sorry, give me 1 second.
Hey, it's Kevin. This event will start one here at we're going to get through a roll start with this.
Sorry, y'all. Minor technical difficulties, but we're back. Today, I will be hosting today's press conference. Kyle Rittenhouse, a deadly shooter during the Wisconsin Black Lives Matter protests in 2020, is scheduled to speak at a campus event on April 16th, later on today. As the anniversary of the May 4th massacre approaches, Kyle Rittenhouse has no place being welcome on our campuses. Yet yesterday, we hosted a rally for students to give testimony on how they feel about his presence on campus and to give a platform to the Black and brown voices continuing to go unheard, emphasizing the lack of safety, resources, and care allotted to them. Paul Prediger, surviving victim of the deadly massacre alongside Kent's students, will be joining us today to condemn the Rittenhouse's status as a guest speaker and highlight the harm that his hateful and violent white supremacy inflicts on our campuses and communities. Kyle Rittenhouse's presence as a guest speaker mocks the legacy of bloodshed of protesters on Kent State's campus and epitomizes hateful white supremacism that we as Ohio students feel is unacceptable, jeopardizing our safety. The history of May 4th, when the National Guard slaughtered 4 student protesters and injured 9 others on Kent State's campus, haunts students to this day. Rittenhouse, only famous for his murder of 2 Black Lives Matter protesters and injuring 1 other who is scheduled to speak at our press conference, is not welcome and dishonors the legacy of Kent's campus. Our speakers today are student leaders from Kent State University. We will hear from each of our speakers, and then we'll close with questions from the media. Please hold your questions till the end. Thank you.
Hello, everybody. Thank you for joining us here on this lovely afternoon. My name is Paul Prediger. Many of you know me as Gage Grosskreis. On August 25th, 2020, Kyle Rittenhouse shot me in Kenosha, Wisconsin. Since November 2021, I've chosen to remain silent and not speak publicly regarding Kyle Rittenhouse and the events surrounding that night, having preferring my anonymity and safety over revisiting a traumatic period in my life. But that silence ends today. While I've simply tried to live my life and not relive those moments, Kyle Rittenhouse has taken a different path. He has used every moment to gloat and to make light of taking life. As if that were not enough, Kyle has embraced and been embraced by those who peddle hateful rhetoric, who believe in nationalism that excludes those who do not look like or think like them, and who have sought to amplify a troubling desire for violence against supposed political, cultural, and religious enemies. I am not here today at Kent State to sell you a book that somebody else wrote, or a full body armor military kit that I didn't design, or a subscription to an anti-woke payment processor, or to sell you the lies of BLM. That speaker is across campus today, and his name is Kyle Rittenhouse. And for an extra $37, he'll even autograph his book for you. But what I am here to do is to stand with the students of Kent State who have had enough. Enough of Kyle and his rhetoric, Enough of the celebration of loss of human life. Enough of the flawed logic that because a 17-year-old who shot me and killed 2 others with an illegally obtained firearm, an illegally carried firearm, is now somehow qualified to be a champion of gun rights. Enough of the sad fragility that proclaiming and accepting Black Lives Matter, because they do, somehow devalues or threatens white lives. Enough of the lies and the deceit that has been told by Kyle Rittenhouse for over 3 years about what actually happened in Kenosha, August 25th, 2020. So I ask all of those of you who are interested to join me and these student organizers behind me and in this crowd to come to the Oscar Ritchie Hall for a hopefully enlightening teaching experience. Because students deserve an alternative to the hate and division that Kyle Rittenhouse seeks to sow on campus. And with that being said, I am very thankful for my invitation here and being able to be amongst y'all. Thank you.
My name is Jaime Flores, and I'm the current president of the Spanish and Latino Student Association. On March 15th, Turning Point USA at Kent State announced that they would be bringing Kyle Rittenhouse to Kent State. He's most known for murdering 2 people and injuring 1 person in Kenosha, Wisconsin 4 years ago. He's coming to this university at 6 p.m. today for a talk titled The Rittenhouse Recap in the Kiva Auditorium, hosted by Turning Point USA at Kent State. His talks at other universities are marked by hate towards supporters of Black Lives Matter and those who are broadly categorized as the left. As current president, the Spanish and Latino Student Association denounces this event and the hateful nature of Turning Point USA at Kent State and nationally. Thus, the Spanish and Latino Student Association comes together today with the Ohio Student Association, Ignite, United Students Against Sweatshops, Kent State Unite for Reproductive and Gender Equity, and Students for Justice in Palestine, with support from Serve the People Akron and locals who were affected by May 4th. This is a coalition of organizations, students, and locals who are distraught by these actions. The Spanish and Latino Student Association feels the need to speak up on this because of the blatant disrespect from this university. SALSA is often considered the point organization for when Hispanic Heritage Month comes around, or when someone needs us for a school project. But we have not and will never be silent when our students need us. We represent thousands of students who do not feel safe by the actions of Turning Point and Kyle Rittenhouse. I don't want to pass the baton of leadership of Latino groups as a martyr. I want to share my legacy for the living. Quiero compartir lo que hemos creado aquí. Como presidenta de la Asociación de Herencia de Hispanos y Latinos, estoy representando la herencia de generaciones que han apoyado los derechos humanos. No vamos a dejar que él venga en paz. In this chaos, Turning Point USA was never the problem. It is a symptom. Bigotry runs rampant among those who are not wise enough to find solutions, and so it is passed on to those who have been scapegoats since the inception of this country. That is why Governor James A. Rhodes was able to send the National Guard to Kent State 54 years ago on that hill. That is why today we ask ourselves, who will defend us? As an organization, as a coalition, we stand up for ourselves. But when we are not defending ourselves anymore, after we have sacrificed the freedom to feel safe in favor of the freedom of speech, who will defend us? Higher education is failing us. While we have administrators releasing statements about their restrictions and limitations, their priorities laying to freedom of speech. To both our federal and state lawmakers, our Ohio politicians at every level, I ask you one question. Is the voice of Kyle Rittenhouse more important than the cries of danger coming from your own students? Thank you. Hello, everyone. Hello, everyone. Thanks for coming out today. My name is Michelle Stanley, and I'm the president of Ignite and the vice president of OSA. And I'm a student that fights against
racism through advocacy. Why? Because I do not feel safe. I want to feel safe, but I do not feel safe. People of color aren't safe at home, school, or the communities we live around. And sadly, Kent's campus is no different. There's always a law or bill being posed that creates a greater distance from freedom. Like SB 83, which is a dangerous bill that removes opportunities from people of color, women, and queer students. And Kent doesn't oppose this, which means they're okay with removing safe spaces. Instead of making our community safer for students, we have a touring murderer spewing offensive rhetoric, and we can't do anything about it. Because it's not against policy. Shouldn't student safety be policy? Students already aren't feeling safe. And we're exclaiming this to our university. We even went far enough to do an analysis that proves students' uncertainty via the Black Student Report by Ohio Students Association. Personally, I'm tired of feeling that I am not safe or anything can happen to me at a place I reside. A place where things has happened, including racial slurs and attempts of physical harm. I thought coming to Kent would be home. At least that's what was sold to us. But if you are considered an other, you are not safe. And when you identify as Black, female, or queer, you are an other. Even though we were promised a loving community, removing themselves from hate in our acceptance letters. Which is why I find this profoundly disgusting and embarrassing that a campus that holds such rich history would even consider a murderer. And no word from administration, knowing that trials and tribulations those before us experienced. Which is kind of hard considering we have a memorial for each activist who died. Due to murders brought onto this campus, which is supposed to be our sacred grounds. This constant letdown won't break us and cannot break us because we are descendants of activists who died for us to feel safe. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. Can you guys hear me just fine? My name is Demaya Mayfield. I am the 2023-2024 Director of Student Relations for Black United Students and the Racial Justice Chair of Ohio Student Association. Over the past year, I've been very hands-on with the Black Student Equity Campaign. My job, in short, is to be an advocate for Black students on campus, act as a liaison for Black students, and oversee collaboration and communication between individuals and student groups. My most important task is gathering concerns from Black students through forums, surveys, and dialogues, and bringing those concerns to the necessary individuals. Making sure that Black students are being supported and having a positive experience at Kent State University, and that the Kent State community is thriving for students of marginalized identities are my primary concerns as a student leader. The current climate of college campuses is making it harder for Black students to feel safe, wanted, and supported in their higher education. With the introduction of Senate Bill 83 in the state of Ohio, the eradication of DEI across the United States, and the dismantling of affirmative action, it is clear that the education and well-being of Black individuals in this country is not valued. And it's felt here at Kent State University. Last December, using my roles within Black United Students and Ohio Student Association, we hosted an event called Black Student Table Talk, to gather concerns and feedback from Black students at Kent State. When asked if they felt safe at their university, 60% of Black students said no. At the end of last month, when Black students were asked about their comfortability with Kyle Rittenhouse's presence on campus, 97.8% said they were extremely uncomfortable with his presence on campus. And after speaking with a handful of students myself, many of them expressed being fearful and afraid to be on campus. As advocates, it's important to uplift and amplify the concerns and fears of students of marginalized identities, as well as do anything in our power and everything in our power to support them. Understand that we're living in a pivotal point in history, with the quality of public education quickly changing in the wrong direction, and the threat of our freedoms being taken away constantly looming over us. Now more than ever, we need to support each other and feel increased support from our community and university. Ask yourself, whose responsibility is it to protect us? And then ask yourself, who will? Thank you.
Hello, everyone. My name is Yassine Sheikh. I'm the president for Students for Justice in Palestine at Kent State University. And in that capacity, I speak out here today, not in spite of the focus of my organization, but precisely because of it. Because SJP advocates for a free Palestine, for freedom for Palestinians, but also freedom for all oppressed people. Because as the slogan goes, nobody is free until we're all free. It is with that in mind that I continue. The situation of Kyle Rittenhouse's visit to Kent State University is not only an effort or an affront to the values and history of the student body, but a stain on the integrity of the organizers of his visit. To Turning Point USA, are you so lacking in moral leadership that you feel the need to bring Rittenhouse to Kent State? To advocate for gun rights, which you're welcome to do as per your right to free speech, is there no other option for you to choose, except for a teenager who became famous for killing 2 people? A chaos tourist who not only came out on top of the situation legally, but profits from it to this day through publishing a book, like Paul said, like selling body armor, and selling even a video game targeted at exposing the lies of the left. That is all for the moment as far as TPUSA goes. However, as a representative of the movement for Palestinian liberation, I also want to draw a few important comparisons. Firstly, the police brutality that caused the protest at which Kyle's stunt occurred is closely tied to the horrific and brutal practices of the Israeli Defense Forces enacted upon the Palestinian people. Be it as conceptual and as deep-rooted as the prison industrial complex, as mass incarceration or systemic racism, or practices as day-to-day and concrete as the knee-to-neck method employed by Derek Chauvin on George Floyd. The United States and Israel are partners in state crime. But it does not end there. The vigilante violence committed by Kyle closely resembles the violence committed against Palestinian civilians and villages by Zionist Israeli settlers on the daily, who are driven by racism and supremacy and emboldened by the state to attack villages and Palestinian civilians, a practice they have actively engaged in for over 75 years, the most recent being to burn down a village just this month. I want you to understand something. The movement for freedom is intersectional, and the world of oppressors is a small one. In the struggle against neo-fascism, colonialism, imperialism, and racism, this university must be vigilant and adhere to its values. When the alarm is sounded by not one, but many diverse student groups, you must heed the call. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Christian Heller, and I am the current chair of United Students Against Sweatshops Local 27 here at Kent State University. We are currently campaigning for Kent State to pay those student workers a living wage. But today I'm here to advocate for the safety of the LGBTQ plus community on campus, which hits close to home for me as a gay Latino man. Human rights are workers' rights. LGBTQ rights are workers' rights. And trans rights are workers' rights. Since the beginning of 2023, 9 separate bills targeting the transgender community across 6 categories: education, bathrooms, performances, sports, healthcare, and the military, have been introduced or passed into law in Ohio. They are blanket bans on drag shows, trans people using their preferred bathrooms, trans people in sports, access to trans-affirming healthcare, adoption, and education. Trans people, and especially trans people of color and trans youth, have become the targets of a far-right agenda, both nationally and here in Ohio. Kent State has no plan and seemingly no interest whatsoever in keeping trans people safe on this campus. Kyle Rittenhouse's presence here today is emblematic of a deeper issue with Kent State. The university has a duty to ensure the safety of its marginalized students on this campus. Kyle Rittenhouse's appearance and the potential presence of far-right extremists has rightfully made marginalized students scared to be on campus. But this is not the first time that students have felt unsafe being on campus. Earlier this semester, the rock on Front Campus, which has a storied history of protest art being displayed upon it, was defaced for nearly 2 weeks with transphobic hate speech. When these messages of hate were covered with messages of love and acceptance, they were once again defaced by more hate speech. Protect Trans Youth and a trans flag were replaced by Protect Kids from Trans Radicals. The university did nothing to address this, not even putting out a simple statement like they did in 2020 when the rock was covered with equally hateful racist messages. Instead, we were told it's not harassment because it doesn't target a specific person. And it's not discrimination because it doesn't affect a person's ability to work at or learn at the university. How does fearing for your safety not affect your ability to learn? According to a survey conducted in part by USAS, 56.7% of trans students on campus felt unsafe or unwelcome on campus. Respondents cited cyberbullying and online harassment, and have even faced threats, slurs, and harassment in person. Some students even said they no longer feel safe openly expressing their gender or sexual identity on campus. 81.7% have a negative view of Kent State University. 58.3% said they expected the university to do more to ensure their safety. Students on campus have a right to free speech. But the university also has a responsibility to make students feel safe on their campus. Kent State has a 5 out of 5 on the Campus Pride Index, but LGBTQ students are looking to transfer to other universities that take their safety more seriously. The university claims they have no idea how to keep trans students safe. Well, I say if you truly want to live up to your values of diversity, equity, and inclusion, then you should listen to your trans students. Kent State University can start this process by creating a task force made up of trans students, trans faculty members, and members of the administration to create an action plan for ensuring the safety of LGBTQ plus community on campus. If flashes truly take care of flashes, then the university should protect trans and LGBTQ plus students. Queer, black, and brown students do not feel safe on this campus. Who will defend us? Because Kent State University is not.
Hello. Hello. My name is Akira Holly. I am 21 years old and I identify as an African American woman.
I study peace and conflict here at Kent State University. I currently serve as the co-director of programming for Sister Circle and have worked with many other organizations on campus. If I'm being honest, I don't know what the right thing to say to you all is. To Turning Point USA, I am disappointed, I am hurt, I am concerned, and I am tired, as I know many of you are as well. It's that point in the semester when things get harder because you're behind. If you need to catch up, if you're on time, you're probably more than burnt out. The days are getting longer and the sun is shining, so doing that work just doesn't seem so necessary. As students, we have classes and jobs and bills and cars that need gas and bodies that need to eat, but funds that don't match all the time. Exams and organizations and friends and families and good days and bad ones. But on those good days and on those bad ones, we deserve to feel safe. You deserve to walk around on a random Tuesday in 75-degree weather, regardless to what kind of day you're having, without fear of not just Kyle Rittenhouse, but fear of our classmates who support him. Knowing that there are students who attend this institution who are okay with this is the scariest thing to me. So again, I'm not sure what to say. I'm not sure of many things. I'm not sure what will happen later today, in the next week, or in the next minute. But one thing I do know is that you are not alone. I'm going to say it again, you are not alone. When you're angry and when you're hurting, I will stand with you. When you feel unheard and are looking for answers, I will stand with you. And because I'm only one person, for maximum impact, I encourage you to stand with one other person. And I encourage you to encourage them to stand with another. We are so much stronger and have so much more power than we know. And to tap into it, all you have to do is stand up. Stand up for what you believe in, to be a part of the change you want to see. Run away from passivity, for passivity is the same as defending injustice. Be bold and be honest and be, most of all, you. Don't allow the things we have seen here today, the posts you have seen online, or the people who have offended you to change or harden your heart. Use it to inspire you to be a risk taker, a change maker, and someone who not only stands up, but stands with their community. Thank you.
How y'all doing? My name is Julian Grimes. I'm the Black United Students President. So I know a lot of people was probably thinking I'm going to come up here and speak on that guy that's coming over at the Kiva. We're not. I'm the solutions guy. So let's tell you about this building real quick. So this building is Oscar Ritchie Hall, and this building was given, we earned this building because we were giving a building called the Kumba House by the university from a protest. The university went and tried to take the building away because a new building was coming on campus, and the Black United Students, we came on this building right here, the old Student Center, and we said we're not going anywhere until we can have at least a floor. You know, that turned into, we want the whole entire building. So they gave us the building. And this building is known as our cultural center. This building is also the Department of Africana Studies. The reason I'm speaking on this today, because there are a lot of threats that are threatening us, a lot more than that guy. SB 83 is a thing that's trying to take all of this away from us. This is a time for us to focus in while we are all together, to focus on stuff that's trying to take us out. A lot of things goes past us because a lot of us are not even registered to vote. A lot of us are registered to vote and don't go vote. A lot of these things that, you know, we can't control, like this person coming on campus is going through things where we have to vote. We have to vote to stop stuff like this. And we're not going to vote. So therefore, let's talk a little bit on how is he able to come on campus. He's able to come on campus because this is a public campus and it will be against the law to stop him from coming on campus. How do we change laws? We vote. A lot of us need to focus in and realize that right now, more than ever, we need to stick together and protect ourselves. Because as all of us are here, no one is going to protect us like we will protect each other. So we need to use this moment as a time to learn, as a time to celebrate being happy who we are. Today, I'm going to celebrate being happy and being Black on this campus. So we are going to be enjoying ourselves at the Jubilee that starts at 6 o'clock. We won't even say his name because we're not worried about him. We're not going to give him any attention, and we're not going to let him know that we're upset. Yes, we're upset. Yes, it hurts. It's a reminder every day. We have a building right there where we have 4 students die. And him coming on campus is a blatant smack in the face of that. And on top of that, him coming on campus is a blatant smack in the face of me being a black man. Let's do a role switch. If I was the person to do exactly what he did, I promise you, I would not be able to come on this campus right now, let alone walk freely, let alone probably even be breathing. We've seen people like me die for a lot less. So, I'm not going to give him any more thought. I'm not going to give him any more of my energy. And we shouldn't do the same thing. We shouldn't give him any energy as well. So if you guys want to learn a little bit more today, I encourage you to come behind me today for this teaching. Sit in and learn about things that are affecting us from on this campus and off this campus that is stopping us from having things that we need and things that we use. So I'm not going to be here long. I'm the solutions guy. And yeah, let's celebrate, guys. Today is our start of our celebration. We are going to celebrate being black on this campus. If you're black, if you are transgender, if you're gay, if you're whatever you are and you are going by, I want you to celebrate that and be in your skin. Be happy that you are who you are. So let's get it. See you guys.
Hi again. Before we wrap up and get ready for questions, I do have a testimony, a brief testimony. Still, plan to utilize this platform I have while I can. I'm going to reintroduce myself. My name is Ostiano Rosales, pronouns he, him, and I'm a freshman here at Kent State. I'm a trans student. I'm a Puerto Rican student. And I'm scared. This testimony is not one that I want to be having. I'd much rather be known for my passions and my persecutions here. But with an identity as this, one completely and utterly politicized, it can be difficult for the humanity behind me to shine through. So for this brief moment, let me be your eyes, see what I see. Let me be your ears to hear what I hear. My unpaid emotional labor, an intern of a movement with benefits I most likely will never reap. This notion is not new, that the work that I'm putting in, the seeds being sown, the fruits of my labor will not be mine to enjoy. The harvest and bounty will never grace my lips. I do not expect to. I accept that long ago. This is not for me. This is not for them, those who oppose us. This is for us. These protests, these rallies, these posts, these poems, these songs, this art. This is for our community. It's to show each other solidarity. It's to show each other intersectionality. It's to show community. I wanted to come here and tell you about the things I've been experiencing in my first year here, because they have been graphic and they have been hard. But what will that do? It's plastered everywhere, and it's clear who cares and who doesn't. Me standing here at this podium, preaching to the cameras, to the students, to the people, will not make today any easier, will not make tomorrow any easier. It will not make these finals go a little faster. It will not let me enjoy these sunny days, this warm weather, the beautiful nature that I love. It will not make those any brighter. Only we can do that, and only I can do that. We're here. We, as in the student leaders before me, the student leaders who I have had the privilege to look up to as upperclassmen, they give me hope that in the next 3 years, I might be actually able to do something, even if it's just on this campus. It gives me hope that others, those who I've talked to, will understand that they are not as powerless as people want them to feel. None of us are. This is why we're here. This student-led operation has taken up the entirety of my mental space for the good portion of this semester, and I do not regret a single moment. My voice may be shaky, My testimony may not be what some people are looking for, but it's what I'm looking for. It's what my friends are looking for. It's what my community is looking for. As long as I can, I will use this platform, and we are not going away. We're now going to be opening up for questions from the media, and I once again thank you for your time here today. I will also be moderating the questions. Would anybody like to go first?
Is Paul going to be participating or no?
I do have
Not right now.
one question for you. Harry Boomer from Channel 19 in Cleveland. What is your one overriding message to Rittenhouse, Mr. Rittenhouse?
Is this question directed at me or the floor? Just to clarify.
Whoever wants to answer.
Sorry, I'm tall. I would say our direct message is that we are going to stand together. We are not going to let you scare us into leaving our university or not speaking out or not attending things. We are going to be here. We are going to defend what we should. And yeah, that's all I have to say. Thank you.
So my question is, what would you say to the people who are going to be attending his talk today, and say that, well, the trial and all the video evidence showed that Rittenhouse shot in self-defense, and even Paul admitted on the stand that Kyle only shot him after Paul pointed his gun at Kyle's head. So what's your response to that, and how do you kind of square accusing him of being a murderer still?
Just for 1 second, before questions, if you could clarify who you're directing at, whether it be to the floor or a specific member that has spoken before, that would be great. In response to those who feel that Kyle is not a murderer, a response to those groups may do little. We're actually going to have Aimee Flores do this.
The justice system in this country is broken. I don't think we need to say whether or not he was acquitted to know that he murdered people at a protest. I think that should all say it all it needs to, honestly. If we are going to rely on this justice system for what is right and wrong, then Andrew Jackson was a great president.
Any others? Yes?
Yes, this is to the floor. I was wondering kind of what response you were hoping from the university when it came to Rittenhouse coming today.
I think that we were just expecting them to say that they stood with us and to say that it was wrong. I think that we all know that there was nothing that could be done about him coming here as far as we are all concerned. But for them to say that we know that you feel unsafe, but we want to do everything that we can to stand with you and to protect you, for them to be vulnerable with how they're feeling about it as well, and just to show face, to be real with us and talk to us like we're people.
Anybody else? Yes.
Are there any changes that you would like to see made at the legislative level for impacting the ability for these kinds of events to be hosted on campus, and for certain speakers to either be allowed or restricted from appearing on campus?
I would say that it should definitely be a part of policy how our feelings are. Like if we say, like we said, 90% of us feel like we're unsafe, that should matter. That should be important because we reside here, we live here, we pay to be here. So definitely policy should be able to, we should be able to override that if a substantial amount of individuals feel unsafe. Yes, thank you.
All right. Thank you, everybody, again for coming. Please stay safe today. Thank you.